All right, so we see the lock-in on the draft. Yeah, I would have preferred to see Vi here. Vi plus Oriana is a very nice combination, not to mention that you have early kill threat here. Malphite being a very nice counter pick no matter how you cut it. Vi also would have had access to denting blows, which would have been a nice adaptation for them coming into this. Now, something I like about Set looking into this Callista, you will have access to Flash E into Ultimate, which should give you enough lockdown to hold Callista in place for these fights. We'll see if that's enough. But I do love the Malphite pick into Renekton. You're going to be this rock that's going to be very difficult to chew through. That being said, you're going to have Black Cleaver from Wukong. Probably can actually have two Black Cleavers on this team to chew through that Malphite if they need to. You'd like to see Malphite paired with an Oriana in this matchup. You wish you could have swapped your mids for this. Oriana being slightly stronger on this patch, I think. Syndra does give you that scaling advantage, but Oriana is just so strong and very nice to play with Malphite. With that said, you can easily find yourself a Scout of the Week into Malphite sort of combination. Plus, they have a nice little setup here with Lee Sin, where he pairs well into the AP on both these lanes. We'll see what Malphite ends up doing if they end up trying to do any amount of chunking or like the Everfrost build, which I don't expect to see. Probably just going to be full tank into this game, trying to just mitigate what this team can do. Look at this engage. They go for the invade, but they end up going, this was planned. They were prepared for it. This is a huge L for Team Wales. They go off. Oh, and we're going to get a pause. Does it mean they need to restart? Oh my goodness. They are restarting. Look at the words. No restarts. Okay, so it's some other issue that was contained. Wow, thank goodness for, I mean, that's super fortuitous for Gigabyte Marines. I don't know what the issue was. If you guys want to fill me in, go for it. But that's going to be such a tilter. Last game, you were winning, then you threw it away. We talk about that emotional roller coaster, and then you get this spot like, wait, something can go right for us, and then it doesn't. It's very easy. From a psych point of view, it would be very easy to see this game just falling off a cliff. Now, very apt engage there from Nautilus, doing it while the level 2 timers are coming on, but it does coincide with Kai'Sa and Set already having theirs, meaning that they are happy to just take that fight. The Q looked like it would block by a minion. That's something that BA needs to be careful to not allow. And the longer that fight goes on, it's going to be Callista favored, which is why they take it, right? They say Callista significantly stronger than Kai'Sa, a specific counter pick, right? Draven and Callista are two of the best champions at punishing Kai'Sa early. She has such a weak laning phase. But they end up instead being pulled off, and now we have Kai'Sa with a damage lead, with a healing lead with these two potions, also with the biscuit available. We also have refillable from Set, so they are just taking this tiny little advantage for themselves in bot lane. Plus we have a significant advantage from Wukong, which it looks like he turned into presence in the top lane, which means that he's actually going to fall behind slightly. Now, what happened to these camps? How do we have 4 camps dead? Oh, Wukong. Okay. I didn't see where Wukong ended up going off, but ends up going for these fights. This is something that Wukong is very good at in these early games. Has the extra passive stacking for the regen and the armor that is most felt at level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once you get ultimates, it starts getting mitigated a little bit, but at these base levels, very, very good. So I liked seeing that proactive play from Wukong. Also taking advantage of the fact that Lee Sin got blocked on that attempted invade. Everything going right for Gigabyte Marines right here. That's something that you're going to see until Malphite's able to start stacking armor. This is going to be severely Renekton favored. Very easy for him to just play into this wave, use the Q for the healing. We've spoken about it before. We will try to keep track of Renekton, whether or not they put a 4th point into the Q or not. See how they're stacking their wave. I'll back this up a moment. I'm gonna highlight this. This is worth noting. See how he's going for frame perfect executes here and here? You're waiting for this minion wave to come here because you'd like to get the push on the next one. The problem is, based on where it's standing, the casters are going to be right here. Very difficult to try to get the push in. You'd like to actually take this minion wave, grab it from right here, pull it away from your minions, and pull it back. If you can accomplish this and you can get this line of scrimmage to move over and be like right here, and the casters here, that is a tremendous amount of difference because Renekton can populate that middle spot. You can crash the whole wave with an empowered Q, and then you can get your big recall off. Also worth noting, look where Wukong is. He's staying on this side. He intentionally took Wolves first, so that he could take Gromp second, which will do a couple things. It'll make his second clear of the jungle much more natural, but also it puts him in position to shadow for this play. Not that there's any real kill pressure here from Malphite or Lee Sin, but if there's one moment of weakness, it's right here when you're slow crashing this wave, when you're putting yourself into this position against this turret. So we'll see how it ends up playing out. Coming from here. All right, you see that next minion wave, I wish they would show it to us. Same thing sort of here, right? You can never have access to these backline casters. But in this case, Nautilus and Kalista are trying to accomplish something a little bit different. You guys feel free to pause the video right here, 4:39. You can put the timestamp in the comments below. What would you do? What are they trying to accomplish for themselves with that freeze and rebound? Proactive play. The threat of the set means that they walk into the Wukong. Red buff Wukong, nonetheless, able to take that fight for themselves. The objective gain right here is to get a frozen wave state with a Kalista. You see how she just went back and shopped? Nautilus is ready. Kalista has an item advantage. Lee Sin is on this half of the map. They are very much scripting this to try to create an all-in situation. The downside will be the fact that you have a slight level disadvantage, all right? Set stepped aside, which means that Kai'Sa's level 4. It means that they are able to stack this wave and crash it, which means that all the prep time that was done was actually wasted. So perfectly done by GAM. Good little release. I love watching these teams know how this teasing of the waves goes. It is something that most teams by now should be very, very good at, if not just about perfect, where the adaptations come in the flexing that 60-30-10 game theory optimal idea where you have multiple different plays you can make. If you're always trying to do the scripted perfect play, which is what Team Wales tried to do, right? You have a rebounding wave. Kalista will go get an item. Lee Sin will be on this half of the map. We'll fight them. Well, the correct answer to that is let's bring numbers, stack the wave, crash it, and recall ourselves, right? And then we just have a bigger buy than you. You're stuck under your turret now. We can go make plays. The set can go make plays on other parts of the map. And that's exactly what we end up seeing. Set comes in. They come over. They get the kill again onto Glory here. And basically, Glory, you could argue that it started before the int up in top lane. But the fact that he died, and since that moment, Glory has been a liability in this game. All right, there's no other way to put it. Just been making mistakes, has been giving up their life needlessly, and it's unfortunate to see. I'll try to find next time that they're shown on the camera. Look at this fight, beautifully done by Set with the long peel, but still they're actually going to take it down. They end up getting one. So the strength of Malphite plus the peel from Nautilus showing its strength there, but how strong is Renekton going to get with the wave for themselves? Kai'Sa can't do anything into this lane down bottom. Kalista, you see her pinging. She's asking for help. She cannot approach this wave because she will lose the 1v1 to Kalista. Even with a serrated Dirk, you can basically only go for one Q, but the moment you cast Q, that means you're in Kalista's auto attack range, which means Kalista can take the fight to you. See what she's opting to do. Oh, looks like she's going for a freeze. Is she ever going to go for an all-in? Goes for a little chunk first. She's got plenty right now. Now the timer, the red flag has to be going off in their mind, saying, hey, I know my support is not here. It's been about 25 seconds since we lost track of Set, so I don't know where they're going to come. Look at that beautiful engage. Flash E into the fight. Don't like that he actually used the W. Not only do you want to keep that available, but you want to make sure that you're giving those kills over as best as you can. 3 fights, you just have a big HP lead going up. Set doing his best to try to peel this fight. Sure, let's see. What's the W cooldown? Is he going to have it available for himself? Comes in, gets a beautiful stun here, but the flash empowered attack means Wukong bites the dust anyways. All right, Kallista's strength being turned into extra plates here in the bot lane. Levi answering that with a Herald in the top. Now compare the resource usage here, where 3 champions are being used down bottom to barely get a plate, whereas Wukong's coming up, getting 300 gold for themselves right off the bat with this kill. I'm actually surprised that he doesn't use that right away. Ends up going for the empowered recall to get the shop in, looking to contest for this dragon. It is very clear what they're trying to do. Set, Kaisa, Wukong, Renekton, they are playing for the early game. Renekton's teleport is down, however, and Malphite's is coming up soon. So if Team Wales has a window here, it's going to be to stall this fight long enough for Malphite to be able to step away and ult in this team fight. That being said, Malphite does not have the tools that Cassante does to stop a Renekton from pushing waves in, going for it. He's much more just of a damage soak, needs that Sunfire to get the extra wave clear. Is going to take it, and I expect him to come over to this wave now. Wait, I say wave, dragon. Come over to the dragon. Renekton actually gets him to stay for one more wave. This is a plus for GAM. You want to have them here. What you don't want is Malphite able to go down to the bot side. If they're able to do that, they'll have the mid lane win, they've got the bot lane win, they'll have people in the jungle, they'll be able to get the dragon, and Malphite will be able to teleport back up, only losing about 2 plates. The question is, what can Gigabyte Marines do in turn with the Herald? Every minute that goes by is another one where they may be a little bit later on their mythic shop, depending on where you want this Herald to go. Do you try to push it and drop it mid, give it to Caddy for Oriana's first spike, and then go for the dragon anyways? Do you try to get Caddy? Do you try to get the gold onto Slater, who's so far behind the Callista? Instead of opting to just keep it here, Malphite is able to get the teleport in, but Renekton just came down. So this is a huge win for Gigabyte Marines. They have the teleport for themselves. Beautiful set ult and Oriana ult. They get the Wombo combo Bronzodia for the huge win. Everything that we talked about for Wales was on the condition that you could keep Renekton top and be the first to this rotation. Instead, they actually use the teleport and still lose. Not just that, but we have the Herald still in pocket, which is going to be a completed Divine Sunderer for Wukong. It's also going to be a completed first item for Oriana now that we have it at the 11-minute mark on top of all those kills. Do not like the play to even try for this, right? Just even being here. Yes, you've got Callista, but that's your one strong thing. You've got Renekton in position here. 3-man Wukong knock-up. Everybody being damaged by the set. You're dealing just enough damage for the set to get a fully empowered Haymaker off. Kaisa comes in late, full executes. That's got to feel good. All right, so this moment, I love it. The hype, like, let's go, right? But then you do that. You generate power in a positive way. Then you take a deep breath and you say, all right, here we go. I just did that. Okay, what's next? Right? You don't want to spend any more time on the, oh, that was fucking, like that was awesome. And here we go. Like, we're going to crush them. No, those are the thoughts that lead to lack of focus and extra celebration. You want that one concise moment, and then boom, you see that the focus came back on. Next time that he gets his recall, I want to see him take a deep breath and absolutely get that full reset off. Glory. You're seeing some dejected looks on Team Wales. The size, the mannerisms, right? Everything's slowing down. Just like, okay, all right, what's next? Okay. You don't see that like hyper focus. You look at this difference, right? Hyper focus, better posture. People are engaged. When you look over here at the cameras on Gigabyte Marines compared to on Team Wales, you see that like their intent. Now everyone's a little bit different, right? They can have different mannerisms in general, but it just feels like you've come down, you've crashed down if you're Wales, and you're feeling so dejected. Like I said, you can get yourself out of this situation. Again, take that deep breath, engage. There's no reason feeling sorry about yourself about how close you almost came in this series. You still want to compete your best. You want to give yourself a chance at winning. and then you can be sorry later. You can be sad later. Come in, compete your hardest right now. Oh my gosh. If we get a kill here pre-mythic, the fact that they didn't even need to invest Herald into Orianna having that big of a win, just a tremendous advantage. And now we get these solo kills, missed flashes. Everything is, we talked about it. They fall down and you just crash too hard. It's tough to see. It's common for teams on their first trip to this elite, to this world elite stage. You'd like to get some experience under your belt so that you don't feel the highs and the lows as extremely. You see this in every sport, right? You just have that, like, you know, for example, Chicago Bulls in the 80s, you had to battle through the Pistons, you had to battle through them, you had to lose to them, and you were the young and upcoming team with the best player in the league, but you still had to lose to them because they were just a little bit more experienced. You still made a couple mistakes, but after years of getting there, getting stronger together, you eventually become you are eventually able to fight them off and get that win, but it takes years sometimes of experience. That's why I don't like these esports contracts that ship people off after one season or 1 year, right? Like already Prince is gone from FlyQuest. It's like, okay, we tried it, it didn't work, let's rebuild. And it's like, no, you'd very much like to get these players for longer amounts of times. But I know that everyone's going to be afraid because of the amount of money that went to Sword Art. And then that ended up just not working out for TSM. And then they basically shipped off everything from their team, and then they shipped off everything else from the LCS, and they won't be joining us in 2024. So you see like why they're a little bit afraid of getting longer contracts. You also want people to come in. That's where you get performance-laden incentives on these contracts. Sorry to talk about that, but I might as well use this window because Team Wales kind of has a foot in the grave already. It's worth talking about. I want them to learn how to bring themselves up from the precipice when you fall off the cliff. Have that parachute for yourself. Have that ability to come back. Keep the team intact. All right? Fight for it. If you need to like make a small change because you know that systematically something is wrong, then you can make that adjustment. But you want to give these guys a chance to build and learn and do everything together that they can get that much stronger and have a chance for international success, because they, you know, no joke about it, they made a pretty good showing for themselves here. They've shown that Vietnam is a region to contend with. There is some depth. You saw Saigon Buffaloes was even knocked out. So you have multiple good teams from Vietnam. I do expect this to be the next emerging region. Brazil is still a step away, although they have the biggest positive swing in momentum. Let's check out this fight. Set just being a body in the middle of the team, soaking up all that damage. Lee Sin is able to get the steal for themselves, and it looks like they're actually going to win this fight. Holy moly, how did they get this for themselves? Okay. Despite being 4K down, they get the win and the steal in the face of the early game composition. Wow. Wow. Look at these multiple Merc Treads coming out. They're saying we don't want to get picked by the Syndra Nautilus combination. We want to have just that little bit of extra magic resist plus the ability to not get chain CC'd from one into the other. Look at the positioning. All right, back of the pit from Levi. Levi starting at half health is a big deal here. Also, the fact that Dominus should still be off cooldown, right? You see the difference in this champion when they have it versus when they don't. Means that the Fury does run out. The Kallista's able to kite the Renekton and is able to get enough down. Now, this happens when you double dash early on Renekton and you're not able to fully consolidate those kills. So if we'll breathe some light back into the whales here. You see all the lingering vision that's left. They took that as an extra prize for themselves. What's up, guys? Thanks for coming by. Appreciate everybody hanging out. We're gonna have an exciting ending to this. I was worried that we had a foot in the grave and that it was just gonna be just, you know, give up, show up to a fight, int my entire team, and go. Wukong ends up for the big engage. You see this with the flank, creating the flank for themselves, getting full in, inting for the kill to deal that extra damage, realizing what your role is on the team, and Snyder dodges the Q to survive. We're gonna see a ward hop. Is there E? He could have had that. He had flash. He could have E-flashed for the kill there. Presumably guessing that he didn't want to risk maybe not getting the kill with Orianna's shield coming over, but it does look like in hindsight he may regret that choice. Orianna being in position would be the ultimate feels bad moment. Do like the wherewithal of BJ to make that choice, to say, hey, all right, Orianna could be in range. We'll see a little bit closer now whether or not it was actually there. All right, Renekton and Malphite are in a standstill right here. You get the double knockups, full damage onto Glory. He goes in. Looks like he misses one of his auto attacks there, but they're able to go in and get the rest of the kill. Nautilus peeling back, dealing some more damage. Lee Sin is going to wish he had that Q back. Let's see, do we get an engaged Q? BJ missing another Q there, but they are able to get the kill onto Orianna. Now that means that they know that they can go for this fight here. They've got 3 versus 1, but you see the strength of Kalista, especially into a champion like Renekton. If you don't want that dash, they're going for the kill. Are they going to get the full dive? Oh, the misposition. He locks himself into the Q animation, means that he dies to the Q. Is there anything to be had here in return? Kalista doing wonderfully for themselves to dive away from Renekton. I love this game, man. This is a banger, side to side. We've got both sides going for the maximum here. Gigabyte Marines is not going to be happy with this, right? You should not be trading off side to side like this. You've got such a tremendous advantage, not to mention that Kai'Sa's already on these 2 items. You want to get these team fights, and your team is going to fall off, right? You've got the set Kai'Sa and Renekton, which will ultimately get outscaled here. Kind of scary to think about, like, all this gold going into the pocket of whales, unless you can consolidate this into multiple turret kills, which it does look like they're going for. So you see that they turn this Kai'Sa advantage into a turret. Renekton's going to turn this into a turret. So their kills end up being worth more here. Nice little cheeky blue steal, meaning Orianna's got it. Completely different champion, just like Syndra. These control mages, we've had a meta game where we've had tanks mid, where we've had fighters mid, we've had everything but control mages. So people have forgotten how to share blue buffs. It is an important thing. Obviously, at this stage in the game, they can just do it just by taking it themselves anyways. But if you're playing in your solo queue games, and you're playing especially manaless junglers, go ahead, give that blue buff over. You can still, while you do that, your candy will stack up, right? You donate a buff, that's fine. Your candy will stack up. You'll still get the camps back. You'll still have that empowered effect around 17 minutes, 16, 17, 18 minutes. And the difference in these champions having blue versus not having blue is tremendous. We actually had like an entire series of changes based on this jungle. You saw Catalyst of Eons being jacked up to 13. Lost Chapter being knocked down to 11, all in an attempt to make it worth it. All right, so we're going to take a little pause the video moment right here. We'll pause the video. What do you think is going to happen in this fight? How does it play out? Why does it play out? You're going to look at this difference in vision here. We still have a significant gold lead, and if we look at the wallets where it's most important, all right, we have a full item advantage on Kai'Sa. Completed Radiant Virtue on both supports. We have 1.5 items on both mages, but we do have Sork shoes here. It's worth noting. Also 1.5 or 1 2/3 really on Wukong. Sorry, on both junglers, but Wukong has the stopwatch. You see all the control wards, and we have 2 completed items on Renekton. So it is definitely worth noting the item differential is huge here. We're talking about a completed Sterix gauge, a stopwatch, and a full item. Means that even though we have this control ward advantage and this vision line set up, I don't really like this position here. Now, one trick that you're looking to do on Syndra, we'll go back to the drawer. When you can throw your Q, as long as you can make it more than halfway through a wall, the E will continue all the way through the wall, plus its duration. So you can actually create super long QE combos from Syndra. This could be something they're looking for themselves. It looks like Nautilus is looking to hide himself and then able to chain. So this looks like the target that they're going for. Sparta right here, holding this position, holding this control ward. It looks like they're trying to hold this line so that Syndra can get all this damage, they can go off, and then Artemis will presumably Q over this wall, all right, use the Q and the dash, and then try to go and stagger her way through this fight as far away from these guys as possible. Now, if we're going to break up the fight, what's going to be the counterplay? We're going to see Set come in first, naturally. Set and Renekton are going to be very happy to take this bush for themselves. After they take this bush, they'll be a little bit happier stepping forward, allowing their team to come up. All right, if they can allow their team to come up, then they should be good. Plus, you have the Orianna ultimate. Now, something that you see, Kai'Sa nice and comfortable behind. No ward in here, so you don't really know what's coming over from this. This is Team Wales by getting here first, getting this for themselves. So they've created about the best situation that they can for themselves. I'm super excited to see how this fight plays out. Should be a banger. Check it out. Renekton comes up. All right, Malphite finds the engage, but it's just onto one, and they're not sure that it's even the Wukong, which means that they lose their position. They don't get the play. Now they have to reconsolidate, but they've given up some turf. Now everything has changed, right? You no longer have this avenue where you can go for that fight. Instead, you have to draw your battle line further back. This is going to favor GAM, which means you no longer have any of the advantages that you had going for yourself. Means that they get to dive into the rest of the fight. Renekton flashing in, you see the Sterix gauge, but they're not able to get everything. They do get Syndra, however. Renekton pays for it with his life. Orianna going deep, and check it out. The fact that you still have a turret here means that you're going to get punishment for diving onto the Kai'Sa, which means that we have a 3v2 to finish this fight. Levi with the speed buff from the Orianna is going to be happy to take the rest of this. Or even just chase them off and take the dragon. Very exciting fight. Well played by all sides. I like how Team Wales was able to continue kiting. I like how they repositioned themselves in the fight after they lost this initial wedge in. You know, when you have Set and Renekton, that's called a wedge. When you get into the middle of their position by taking away some of the positions that you don't have vision and stepping firmly into it, it means that you're able to create some windows for yourself. But holy crap, BJ just taking down Orianna, opting to take the rest of this fight. And are you serious? They're going to get this? Oh my goodness. We're going to have to pull this back and check it out. I'm sure we're going to get a replay, but all right, so we saw on this side 2v3. They come back, they wrap back around. BJ's feeling exceptionally strong. Knows that he has Conquer available to himself. Sees Caddy, who's on reasonably low health, and just goes after them. Wow. Beautiful play. BJ has had a hell of a tournament. That is so inspiring to watch. And collects for himself the dragon. So Team Wales can BJ put the team on his back. Kalista been playing totally fine as well. Can they do it? That would be so exciting. Levi ends up going up pretty far into the kiting of the Kalista. It means that the significant amount of damage comes onto him before he's able to get enough. It has to use a stopwatch. Artemis carrying through this fight. That one... Hold on. So one thing you want to do as these fights turn on, you should have, for the default, it's your apostrophe key, or tilde, sorry, not apostrophe, but tilde. Tilde is the default, but you can set it to whatever. These pros, I guarantee you, have a bunch of buttons on the right side of the keyboard that they just can like target mash, or they have something on their mouse that is, I'm turning on champions only. The reason that you want this is that as this fight's breaking out, the most common place to hide on a turret is right behind it. You don't want to use any auto attacks on this turret. We'll see if any end up going here. It looks like none, okay? But just the fact of taking 2 turret shots plus having the set at your back is enough. But that's important, right? As the fight's breaking out, you don't want any extra hits going any place that you don't want them to. That said, it can be a little bit tricky if you need, especially when you're a Kalista. You want to use, for example, a ward to hit to continue kiting and move away. You want to be able to do that. You're going to do that with your attack move click. Super exciting fight. I love how Team Wales positioned themselves for it. End up losing 3 for 3, but the staggered death on Orianna and the fact that they get the dragon means that that is a huge win for them as a comp. Now, Kalista... going to be a big problem. Finishing 2 items here and going for the defensive itemization next. The single biggest spike you can give for yourself is this stopwatch. You can sell Doran's Blade and go for lifesteal here. The problem is that once they're onto you, you're not going to have enough time to go back up. So basically, he doesn't want to put his eggs into the Immortal Shield Bow basket just yet. He's going to let Stopwatch do the maximum effect first. For the cheapest amount of gold, you also have Doran's Blade to give you that extra health. So prioritizing all the stats possible for this fight. The downside is if anything goes wrong here, you're not going to have enough gold to get into item number 3, and Kai'Sa's can have way more damage. Sparta getting into the middle of the team fight here, able to find that perfect ultimate as well. Kalista getting the execute onto Renekton. We'll see what the strength is of the Wukong. My goodness, this is such a banger of a fight. Orianna flexing into the fight. Kai'Sa finds the window. BJ able to ward hop to dodge the W, and you see Artemis is still alive. The power of this Kalista pick hasn't even had to use the stopwatch. And so this is a case in point where having the lifesteal on the Vamp Scepter would have made a difference. Being able to continue that fight over set, wouldn't have had to juke around. So instead, the majority of the team succumbs, and GAM is able to win themselves a Baron. But we'll see if they actually do, if they have to consolidate. Glory again getting chunked out first. Wukong getting on top of them. Kiaya, good little empower. We said we'd be looking for whether or not they put 5 points into Q or not. Beautiful continued knockup. The Duskblade, oh my goodness. Duskblade is what keeps him alive there. What an item. Lee Sin thinks he's going to get the trade kill back onto you, dives in with Resonating Strike, and instead gets blocked by the invulnerability on you. Oh, Glory, too early. That stun means that Artemis dies here. We'll see if the whole fight comes in. Malphite trying to go in. Caddy dodges it. Artemis is going to try to dodge, but Renekton has just enough to go off into the fight. This is the spot that they want to be. They've got the engaged Fury. They're going to go off, and this is probably going to be the end. Without the rest of Artemis's damage, who's been playing out of their mind in this fight, this should just be GAM escorting the wave up. They have the Baron buff to continue pushing as well. A fully empowered Haymaker. Kai'Sa dealing that damage. Glory is going to feel so bad after this game. I hope that they are able to bring themselves back from the brink. Ever since the int on Talia at the top lane, they've just been on another level downwards, and has been punished multiple times, even missing something that you should never miss at this level, which is a teleport timer coming in. You should always hit that. Artemis played out of their mind. Binjay played out of their mind, and it was not enough. Sparta even solo carrying that Cassante game. But well played by GAM. Exciting games. It's going to be exciting to see this team. Wholesome to see these smiles. They're back on the stage. For those of you who haven't seen it, ever since COVID, Vietnam has had some of the strongest restrictions against travel bans. So Vietnam, despite getting stronger and stronger and stronger, has not been able to show up to some of these international events, or they've just been missing players who have not been allowed to travel. It'll be great to see Gigabyte Marines. It's too bad. The only thing that's too bad is we don't get to see 2 Vietnam teams. I think that this performance is going to get them a 3rd slot for next year. Probably 1 in the main draw and 2 to compete in the play-ins. It'll be nice to see Saigon Buffalo come back next year as well. That was a banger of a series.